all right, here's what happened. Okay, well, I got some pretty immediate feedback on the other thing that we did there, and so kudos to you guys, Ghost Riders, you're out there, and if you're wondering if it is that I can feel that, the answer is yes. Okay, yeah, so kind of in the dream and in real life both, and I guess that brings me to kind of one of my friends' fan. He'd say, well, you mean in the dream or in the dream? And I would say, our favorite line, which one? The real dream or the other dream? I dream one way and Lily dreams another. All right, so yeah, I'm in this world and in the dream world. Yeah, I get a stick like a cattle prod in the middle of the night and jump up out of there like about a 400-volt cat. And you know, I rolled over and I look at Lily, who just kind of rolled over and looked at me with one eye and turned back over, because one thing Lily don't do is abide histrionics. she really has no care about it. These kind of things. See, she don't have all the things that bind this world. See, that's the thing of it. Where she lives, she's perfect and free and fearless. So she doesn't have any of these kinds of problems. Asleep. I don't know what time it was. The sun wasn't up either. I guess he hit the snooze button, and in real life when you're in the wild, the sun doesn't have any numbers on it, so I don't have any idea what time it was. But I was awake now, and I decided now is maybe a good time as any to go ahead and start getting us some victuals. So I went ahead and did just that. Now, the interesting thing is, we're going to go ahead and hit the road. And we're going to go ahead and make up some time here, because one of the cool things that happens is, you'll hear me say, slow is fast. Okay? Because if you've ever done construction, or you've ever done racing, or you've ever done anything that requires precision, you want to measure twice and cut once, right? Okay, so slow is fast, and a lot of these things that require precision. Now, one of the other things that happens is fast is also fast. Okay, so there's deeper truths to anything that you do, but here it is, early in the morning. We're gonna trot over here and get some provisions for ourselves. So fast is also fast. And right now, we got a jolt of energy and juice to go fast. But one of the things that happens is, the faster that you go, the more precision that you need, okay? The more kind of focus that you need. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Where 80 doesn't cut it. And I got a kind of a famous saying, people hear me say it, whiskey goes 80 or whiskey don't go. Well, 80's not fast enough if you're driving in Dallas, okay? So the best thing you can do is go with the flow, go the speed that the traffic, and I'm always saying, always be safe. I'm not saying to speed. I'm not recommending or condoning. I'm just saying you have to go with the flow of the traffic, or you'll get run over. And it's the same way in a lot of the big cities that I've been to, Chicago. And if it's driven in Chicago, you know what I'm talking about. So the thing that you do is you kind of close that circle in, and you pay close attention is what you do instead. So you're going fast, but you're thinking slow, or you're thinking fast, or your attention is slow. It's precise, okay? Your focus is laser pointed, and that's all you're concentrating on. And when I talk about that kind of bubble that you get into, you kind of just get into what they call the zone, right? Okay, and all you drivers out there, you know what I'm talking about. So this is kind of a thing that happens. And if you've ever been in a car wreck, you know exactly what I'm talking about, just how fast time can go when you're going fast, and how much you can think in 8 seconds. Because car accidents that I've been in, you'd be amazed all the stuff that you can think in that amount of time. And it makes me think of bull riders. I bet they think a lot of stuff in that 8-second ride. And it gives me, I've ridden wild horses, or well, I haven't ridden wild horses. I've ridden bucking horses. I've never ridden a bucking bull, but and the difference is for me, I don't know about y'all, but I know that I can reason with a horse. Okay, so regardless of what he's doing, we can come to terms. I'm not as confident about my capacity with bulls, so I don't ride those. And you see, you know, the energy is kind of all here because of the charge that I got. But we're going to go ahead and use that to click down a whole bunch real quick. And but we're going to stay laser focused. Okay, that's the thing we're going to do. We're going to go fast and we're going to think tight. All right. So kind of what it reminds me of is if you've ever been fortunate enough to work to where you had to go to work in the morning or in the afternoon. Okay, it's one of these things where the sun is low enough in the horizon that the trees and the things like that kind of make an interesting strobe across the road that you're on. And just this beautiful moment happens with you and the light and everything else and the trees, and you just get that strobe effect of the trees as you see that road peel out in front of you. And if you have a perfect day and a wonderful road, you got that road that's so black it reflects the sky, and you got this blue ribbon out in front of you, just dressed up like satin. And boy, that's the way to cruise it right there. So, and there's nothing cool thing about getting out of Dallas is getting into clear air, and in any place you go. So you get out into that clear air, and you can just go ahead and put that hammer down and just go. And you're not too concerned about too much else, and you're going as fast as you want to go. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to click down a bunch right now, but we're going to stay laser focused. Because with a charge like this, you have to command it. Okay, that's the little secret that I'm going to tell you. And the way that we're going to command it, I'm going to tell you a story first about electricity, because this is a charge that's really heavy. That's how it's coming across to me, because it's intense. Yeah, you guys, you're there. I can feel it. So I think a cool thing about electricity is if you don't know, it works a little bit differently than it's not like water. The current that electricity has, it's either on or off all the way. And when I say cattle prod or getting stuck, it's on or off. It's all the way. So that's the thing that we want to respect and understand. And it doesn't have to warm up. You see, like hot water. You know, there's water in the pipe, and that water will be there if you open up that pipe, no matter what. Whether the circuit is open or closed, there's water standing in that pipe. Electricity is not the same way. There only exists a potential if that circuit is closed, and the wire may be there, but there's no, technically electricity, there's not electricity standing in there waiting like there is water in a pipe. Okay, switch and you complete that circuit, it's there 100% and in the full. Okay, and trust me, that there's an old saying about that, you know, the rain rains on the just and the unjust alike. Well, let me tell you what, for anybody that's ever encountered what's called an electric fence, you'll know it rains on the just and the unjust alike too. A couple of the fellas that I know run into that by accident, and it cares not. It's no judge of character or anything else, man. If you close the circuit, even by accident, it's going to let you know it. That's what I'm saying. So I have a healthy respect, and I've dealt with some electrical stuff in my life because I've done a lot of electrical work. We wired up this whole entire house, and the interesting thing about that is, again, we put all of the wires in it, but it took weeks to get a power source connected out at the road. We had to put in the weatherhead and everything, and the pole all the way out at the road, everything. It's all brand new, and so we put all the wires in the house and everything, but it's just a potential. Nothing's going to them. Like I said, we had to run generators for the construction tools that we were using. But so all these wires are in there, and they exist only as a potential. And until you connect them, they're just inert wires. They're completely inert. There's nothing. And it's the same way if it's done correctly with a switch. If that switch is completely inert, okay? So here's the thing. If I come across an electric fence, though, and I'm not sure, because you can't tell by looking at it, all right? if that wire is hot or not, if it's live or not, okay? And there's more than one way to find out, but I tell you, I'm loath to find out the hard way, okay? So what happens is, there's a specific resistance in my personage, what I call a healthy respect, and others might call fear. It's just a respect for what the wire, because I know what it means. I've encountered this thing before, right? So, some of you have done it the hard way, you admit it. I know the stories. Okay, everybody says, we're just going to slap the wire and see, it'll bite you, man. It'll throw you for a loop. They don't mess around. You know, they're designed for horses and cattle and things, so, you know, you got to let them know because they're... Okay, so anyway, that's my story about electric fences. Well, what I'm saying is, you already have a feeling, a sense of the thing. Whether, even before, if you know that that thing is potentiated or not, you got a sense there's something to it, right? As soon as you see that silver shining wire, man, you're on. Okay, right? You're alert. Your antennas are up, right? Okay, so this is kind of what happened, and now I'm gonna. Already a blueberry. I was out here in the desert. I didn't think I'd run into anybody. So, hey, buddy. So. This is, I'm getting to the $12 socks, Macca, but I had to explain what it kind of is that happened with this person and the deal with these $12 socks, because the closest thing that I can tell you is there was the same charge. If I'm looking at an electric fence, I got an opinion about it, and there's a thought process that's going on behind it, whether I know it's electric or charged or not. There's a connection, okay? And what it was is I was in the shoe store, again, think about this, and it's real busy. Like I said, this place is always busy. There's always kind of stuff going on, and a lot of people in there. Well, all of a sudden, I become aware of the fact that I can hear somebody talking about the fact that it's Father's Day, and she has spent all of her money on... Oh, there's lots of blueberries here, guys, and I'm rolling through with this. I'm gonna pause just a second in my storytelling because proximity chat, yo. Okay. Oh, I know that guy. Okay, but he doesn't know me on this character. We're gonna just sneak on right by here. I know that guy. Isn't that funny how that works? I make all kinds of friends in this game. Okay, so we're gonna go over here and get scarce. We're gonna lose our horse. Okay. I thought about just sitting at camp, but if you noticed, I don't have a camp. I've never had a camp on this character, and I don't have him set it up because it's just gonna cost me money. That's why I don't buy any other horses or anything either, because I don't have any roles on this character, and I might keep it that way. Never Forsaken was very good about saying, maybe consider, leaving this character for the Shadow Kings and leaving the other character for Renegades, and that may be exactly what I do, because it's hard to stay on the beat of these stories when I encounter players or other things going on in the game. So, okay, here's what I wanted to do. I want to go up here, pick up some more stuff. So I'm just kind of making a living in this game by picking up the kinds of things that are... Oh no. I was kind of worried about this. It's going to be a long walk over there, guys. Yeah, horse glitch. There we go. I had to flee him earlier, so I don't know. I guess we'll start walking. We'll give it a try later. Okay, so I'm working in the shoe store, and I hear this person talking. It's Father's Day, and she, of all of these people that are in there, I hear her saying that she would love to have some of these pairs of socks, but that she has spent all of her money buying gifts for other people. She doesn't have any cash left. And she's with a big group of girls. They're all kind of out shopping together because that's kind of what they do in this little town that we live in. And the socks are not cheap. It's $12 a pair. We got we got socks with shrimp, tacos, flamingos, you name it. They're fun. They were fun socks, but they were not cheap. And so they were just kind of fun. But I got to laser focus in on this one girl and people that are around. So what I'm saying is it's kind of like seeing that electric fence. You don't know exactly what the deal is with it, but you know there's something to it, okay? And you probably best not ignore it. And here's the thing, I didn't know. Okay? But there really, again, there's no warming up. It's either on or off. And I could have left it off. I could have just went about my business and about my day and not said anything and left that circuit closed. But I'm just not that kind of guy. Okay? So I hear her saying that. And I could see that she was live. Okay? Something is telling me. And some of you know, if you've been close to it, if you get close enough to that wire, sometimes you can sort of hear it. You might hear a hum on that electric wire. Okay, or you can just kind of sense it. There's like a static charge that's there. And what I'm telling you is there was something different about this girl. So my attention is on her, and across the room, I told her, I said, well, I'll buy you. And she said, of course, what? Because now she is connected to me. I made the connection. I clicked a switch on, you understand? Now that vibe is between me and her, and it's like there's nobody else in the room. All of the people, all of her friends, and she and I are talking. And she said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, I heard you say that you had spent all of your money on other people. You didn't have any cash left. I said, I'll roll that for, a couple. I said, pick you out 2 pair. Are they for you? She said, yeah, maybe, and I might make a gift of one. I said, okay, I don't care what you do with it. Pick you out 2 pair. I'll buy them for you. And she said, oh, okay. So she went about trying to decide, and she looked with all of her, and I kind of went about my business. I was checking out, 5 or 6 more people. And she went about her business picking out whatever pairs of socks, and then all of her friends got ready to check out everything, and she came up with the socks, and I paid for the 2 pairs of socks, $24. And you'd think that'd be just kind of how it is, and she would have just said, oh, gee, thanks, and went on her way. But that's not what happened. What happened was, she looked at me really severely, and she said, why are you doing this for me? And right about then is when I knew something was up. Something's going on right here, and I needed to pay close attention, okay? Then this is how you know. This is this kind of thing, man. And I could have just said who knows what kind of thing, but the way that she said it, sometimes you just know, man, that's a sacred moment. There's no fooling this girl. Something is going on. Now I realize she's got a bigger, deeper charge. And when I say 400-volt cat, I'm talking about big wattage right here, okay? You can feel it if you're smart and you're paying attention. And what I'm telling you is, that's how it was right then. So I was as honest with her as I could be. And I said, well, listen. I don't have a church. My own way of doing things. So one of the ways that I kind of tithe is I do things like that. And I said, and it's kind of on me, and you're kind of doing me a favor, helping me out, because this is the way that I kind of give back. I feel very abundant and blessed myself, and so doing this small act like this is my way of giving back of how I feel blessed. And she seemed pretty content with that, but she still gave me a lot of side eye, even though she took her socks and put them right in the bag and went on her way, right? Okay, so I feel pretty good about it. She feels pretty good about it. And on the surface, it's not just about the socks, man, and we both knew it. So time passes, okay? I keep working in the shoe store, and sometime later after that is actually when I met Lily, which I've told you guys about. And I'm going to try to make it, I've got a few notes here. I think I'm just going to skip over some of that. But so what happened is 4 months went by. I worked there just right out about a year. All of this stuff happened the way that it did, okay? And I did a lot of cool stuff. Not the least of which, ironically, guys, think about this. I made a lot of advertising stuff for them, just little gimmicky things, comprised of all flamingos with sunglasses on. And it became kind of a theme in the store. Next thing you're out there. I've seen you before, buddy. Okay, so about 4 months go by. And what I'm going to tell you next, hold on to your seat. All right, are you laser focused with me here? I'm just walking through the mountains here. She came back. Okay, and the thing that she told me was, and for anyone that struggles with addiction, okay, you're going to know this. 4 months passes literally in the blink of an eye, but 4 months is also an excruciating lifetime to live with addiction and fight it, right? I understand the importance of why I needed to be focused on this, because I told you that was a sacred moment, savvy. I somehow understood it. Some part of my intuition understood to not make light of that situation when she asked me, why are you doing this? Because here she comes back 4 months later. Okay? And what she told me was, she said, when I was here, and she looked like a new person. She looked 10 years young. I mean, I recognized her, sure. But she looked like a different person. And she was. That's the cool part about it. Because that's what she said. She said, you know, when I came in the store that time and got those socks, you remember me? And I said, oh yeah, of course I do. And here's the thing about it. Of all the people's names I remember, I don't. She probably had a really cool name like Jackie or Rachel or Terry. You know, I'm sure she has a cool name like that. I don't doubt it, but she's the face of a very important person, and her name doesn't matter. What matters is her success. And she said, when I was here before, I had been trying to get sober for 4 months at the time. And she said, and it was working for everybody, and I was doing what they were telling me, and it was working for everybody but me. And I was slipping. And she said, I was thinking about relapsing. And if you struggle with addiction, you know exactly what she's talking about when she says that. She was considering whether that was really working for her or not, because it really wasn't working for her. She was only doing it for all these other people. Okay, but she wasn't finding comfort in the things, or even in being sober, that she needed to get through her day every day. You understand? And I understood. And she said, when I came in here and you did that, something changed in me. She said, it's like somehow you believed in me in that moment, or you would do that thing for me even though you didn't know me. And I said, yeah, honey, that's right. And she said, everything changed. And she said, it was still you, but it wasn't really a struggle anymore after that. And this was only about these socks, guys, okay? But something changed and shifted in the connection that she and I made that day. You understand? Okay? And she continued at that point where she was about ready to give up. That's what she said. I was about ready to give up. If not that night, the next 2 nights, that weekend, I would have slipped, except that you did that. And so what she wanted to come back and tell me that that's exactly what had happened. And she had made it through the last 4 months, and it wasn't as much of a struggle. She said, I felt like I was healed, but the healing had to finish taking place. So that's what she had done for the next 4 months, until now she's standing in front of me, and that's exactly where we were at, right there together. And I was just humbled. You know, I won't say I would have forgotten about her, but, you know, I hadn't been thinking about her all this time, because it's been 4 months. And it was just one interaction at the time. And what she did is she brought to me, she said, I was cleaning, and she's been taking, now she's moved on. She's caring for her house and getting her house straightened and organized and things, lots of stuff like this. And what she had was one of these amethyst kind of, it's like a geode with all the crystals, you know, but it's a bright, beautiful purple color with a like green rind on it. It's like a peacock teal green rind piece of stuff. And she said, you know, I was cleaning and I broke it, you know, this big piece that she had, you know, oh damn. But she said, almost immediately as I did, the first thing and I knew exactly what to do. And so I, as first chance I could get to get back over here, she didn't live in the same town, to get back over to this little town, that's exactly what she did. She came over. She made a special point. This is what it meant to her, guys. And this is the gift that she gave me, to come back over there and tell me that it mattered what I did. Okay? And it wasn't just about the socks. It was about the gift that she gave me in allowing me to help, me to be a part of that, allowing me to give her a gift. It was her about receiving and trusting for whatever reason. It was a press for her to trust me enough to take the gift that I was giving her. And she has no idea of the gift that she was giving me by allowing that for me. So she brings me back this piece of amethyst. That's amethyst crystals. It's, a geode. That's about 3 by 3 inches or so, like that. And I can tell you right now, that's another one of my top 10 prized possessions right there. Because what she said was, as soon as I broke this, I knew exactly what to do with it. And I brought it to you because I know that if I've got half of it and you've got half of it, we're always going to be connected. And wow. Remember when I told you that we were just kind of learning to vibe the vibe, and even though I didn't think about working in a shoe store, that it was very important, but being in perfect timing with things. Well, here this was another example of that very perfect timing, where that it is that I've been in the right place at the right time and shaped somebody, and the right things happened, and we made the connection that needed to be connected, and that power was full on, and it filled us both up to a point that we just started a whole different life from that point on. And she was aware, and she wanted to make sure that I understood the connection between the two of us, and that's what she said. And I still have that piece. As long as you have yours and I have mine, we'll always be connected, is what she said. And that's why I treasure this piece that I have. And it might just look like a, if you come in my house, you're going to see some odd things like a little plastic horse and this little piece of purple rock and stuff like that. What I'm telling you is they're treasures of my heart because of the things that they represent to me. And the thing of it is, when she came back, the thing of it is that we shared that's there. And again, I don't know her name, but this piece represents a nameless person who shared in the victory of one of the hardest and longest battles that you can possibly be in, which is addiction. Guys, I understand. The circuit was permanently connected, and she knew it and I knew it. But what we did was connect her to her healing, which is in her source. It's nothing I did. I just showed her where it was. You understand? I showed her that she had importance and value, and she believed me. She gave me the gift of that, and that meant a lot to me. I don't need to know her name, because I will recognize her any place that I see her. And you guys maybe know this guy too. You know her. Her name might be Jackie or Rachel. Her name might be Tim or Stephen, or okay. You're going to recognize them by their scars, because she's a warrior. And every person that struggles with addiction is. And I'm not just talking to guys about addictions to drugs or things like that you normally think of. I'm talking about people who are trapped in certain conditions of their lives. Now, whether that's abuse survivors, witnesses, warriors, poets, artists, deep thought thinkers like the rest of us, people that don't seem to quite fit in this world for whatever reason, and they got whatever coping skills that they can, and they don't seem to fit into this world because what the truth is, they're right in the cutting edge of it. So we don't always feel like we add up, because we don't. We're right in the jagged edge, guys, you guys. And so sometimes those addictions cope with that jagged edge. So I understand how powerful addiction can be and why. And what I'm going to tell you is, Don't ever judge another man by the life that he's living, by the way he copes or the way he responds to you. Because you don't know what he's been through, you don't know what he's going through, okay? And now, I'm going to go across here and I'm going to tell you a quick story about, or a maximum about, if you've done any construction work for very long, I'm going to let all that stuff sink in. Within about 3 days, you're going to hear, somebody is going to ask you, you want the smart end or the dumb end? Especially if you're doing some kind of framing, okay? You're doing big stuff or lining out something, that's what's going to happen. And for those of you that don't know, the smart end or the dumb end means, on a tape measure, the smart end is the end of the guy who is holding that has all the numbers on it, okay? The dumb end is wherever it is that you're measuring out to, okay? And that's not technically a dangling participle, Izzy, I hear you. It's a location that you're measuring to, okay? To which you're measuring, all right? Happy now? So the thing that I'll say is, it doesn't, and you just think about that for a minute. Because what I want you to think about is the next time you encounter a man and you're about to make a judgment on him, please understand, you're holding a tape measure. You decide which end of it you're holding. You got the smart end or the dumb end? Because if you're going to put a measure, judgment on a man, it doesn't define him. And your account of him is not going to change him either. All it does is define you. It's only a measure of you. So if you decide you're holding the smart end, what does that tape say about you? Is what I want you to think about. Alright? And if you're not sure, then you double check and you make sure that you're holding the smart end. Okay? And you go ahead and give him that extra 2 inches. You go ahead and give him that 2 cents, and you go ahead and give him that $24 worth of socks. And be the guy on the smart end, and be generous with it. And may that circuit be unbroken. And may you find that there was never any distance between the two of you at all. And what you learn is what you give, and that you're always going to be connected that way. Okay? This looks like a good place to stop off and stay for the night, guys. What do you think?